Okay, well, I think we can go ahead and get started here. We can let people in as we go. So thank you everybody for joining us today. We are going to have a good presentation here with Justin Harris and Lisa Hartman from the state of Montana, talk about how to use the eMACS bid system and talk about the Jaggaer network and what that all means. Couple housekeeping items. Please, save your questions till the end. If you want to talk and use your microphone, if you hover over the bottom of your screen, you should hit participants, and there's a raise your hand function, and then we can see who's ready to ask a question and unmute your mic, or you can type it in the chat, and we can get your question answered that way as well. Please keep your mics muted until the very end, and make sure, and in the chat, we need everyone to sign in. So if you can please type your first and last name and your company name in the chat, then we'll have record of who attended today. We do need that for our, we're federally funded, and so we need that for our federal funding partner. We are recording it, so I think I'll be able to send this out to everybody when it's done, and maybe put it on our YouTube channel, but that is yet to be determined. So I will let you know when we find that out for sure. Just a little bit about PTAC here. Let me just have like a quick little slide. So for those of you who are, new to PTAC, and you're just now signing up with us, just a little bit about what we do and our services that we provide. First of all, we are federally funded by the Department of Defense, so we're able to provide our services for free. We assist businesses with how to navigate the government marketplace, federal, state, and local governments. We help with things like system registration, solicitation reviews, finding opportunities, market research, training, certifications, and more. We do have 7 locations around the state. So if you haven't talked to an advisor before, go to montanaptac.org and click on locations, and you can see the advisor that is nearest your area that you would want to get services from. We do have a Facebook page and a YouTube channel, so you can follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you would like. I want to introduce, I do have Philip, Lukey, I think I have John and Shannon. John's in our Hamilton office, Philip's in our Bozeman office, and Shannon's in our Great Falls office. I didn't see anybody else from PTAC yet today, so they're on with us as well. I do want to introduce you to Justin Harris and Lisa Hartman. They're our presenters today from the state of Montana, and they're gonna go ahead and do the presentation, so you guys can take it away whenever you're ready.
All right, thank you so much, Rosalind. So I am Lisa Hartman. I am a system support specialist with the State Procurement Bureau. And so what I'll be going over is just a very high level view of how to essentially respond to an event or submit a bid for an event. So I'm going to share my screen here. All right, can everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm assuming that most of you have already registered, but I just wanted to touch base. So the vendor portal.mt.gov, that's where you'll go to log in to get access to your user profile. And then this is just the page there. So once you get in there, usually if you haven't completed your registration, it'll take you to your registration tab. But most of the time it's going to take you to your home page. And here is your home page. This is kind of a little overview. I'm not quite sure where everybody's at with their experience in this, so I'll just kind of do a quick little tour. So up here, if you are the primary contact on your profile, you'll see this link up here to manage your registration profile. So if you want to add anybody or change your address or things like that, you'll click here. And then, of course, sourcing events. So what will show up here usually are the most current ones that either one you've been into, or if there's any events with your commodity code that you have used to sign up, will show up here as well. If you don't see something, you can always go down here to the My Events or Public Events. And here you can see the events that are open, closed, awarded. So you can always see the events there. And the one little thing I want to touch upon there is when you click the awarded, I'm not going to do that because sometimes it takes forever to load. You'll see that the event is, either closed, awarded, and it'll show your name as the supplier. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you were awarded the event. It's just with the Jaggaer system, when you click on that, it just kind of shows who is logged in. So if you see that and you're like, wait a second, I didn't get awarded this contract, that's why. It's because whoever is logged in, it's just going to show that person's profile. Here, I'll try to do it here. Yeah, so here, it'll show that we were awarded the event, but we weren't. All right, so going back to the home. So now let's say we want to go ahead and we want to view this event here and we want to respond to it. So what we'll do, actually, sorry, let me backtrack a second here. So there's going to be a couple different ways that you'll be notified as to when there is an event. One is that you'll receive an email notification stating, hey, there's an event out there, please go ahead and click this link to respond to it. So this is kind of what the email will look like. And also, if you're wondering what this document is, it will be available to you guys. It is an eMACS handbook responding to events. So we'll be emailing you guys out a copy of that PDF. So if there's a lot of information on this, so you'll have that as a reference for future. But here, so the email, once you click on that link, it's just going to take you back to your login and back to your profile, and it'll take you right to the event that you're invited to. The other way is on the public bid site, and that is just the bids.mt.gov. So, and what's nice about here is that you can go to it directly as well. And when you click on that, it'll take you to a separate page and you can see all of the bids that are open. You can see upcoming bids, closed bids, and awarded. And then when you get to this page, you just click on respond now and it'll take you to that event so you can start submitting your bid. All right, so now we want to submit a bid. So here on this main screen, you first have to determine, do you want to bid on this or do you not want to bid on this? So this is something, in the summary you can kind of see. Of course, this is just a demo. So let's say, it's like for fencing or something. I'm like, yep, I do want to bid this. So we're going to go ahead and select, yes, I intend to bid. So from here, in order to proceed forward, you want to hit proceed to prerequisites. So it can range from 1 to 20. So what you want to make sure is you want to download each of these to read it. And then after you read it, we want you to certify and submit that you have read and agree to the terms within that document. And you have to do that for each of the prerequisites. And there are some that may have you upload a document, and you'll see like another little button that says upload. So once you get that and hit certify and submit, all there, you can proceed to the next section. And one thing too is if you just kind of want to take a look at, okay, what is the scope of work, and you don't necessarily want to hit certify and submit, it will allow you to go into, so buyer attachments if that's there. And the one thing I do want to caution too, every event is somewhat set up differently depending on the agency. We all try to use the same templates and things like that, but sometimes it may not kind of look the same. So you may have to go searching either under the prerequisites for the scope of work or under, buyer attachments. So just to kind of let you know on that. And one other thing too, a lot of people aren't aware is, so if you're looking into this and you had selected, yes, I intend to bid, and then after you read through everything, you're like, oh, no, I don't want to do this anymore. There is an option right here. So here you can see intend to bid, status is yes, and you see a little pencil here. You can click on that and you can change your response. You can say, nope, I don't want to do that anymore. You don't have to put a reason, but you can just go back. No, I don't want to bid. And let's say, you just go back and forth with those. So that is an option. So if you're like, oh no, I hit, yes, I want to bid, you can always change and go back and say, no, I don't want to bid. So there's always that option. So from here, I'm just gonna click through really quick. Saving progress. And so here I'm just gonna say, okay, I see everything. And on here, sometimes when the RFP or IFB, if they're looking for like a list of, like numerous items, so let's say like, what's your price for 2x4s or whatever, they're gonna just want you to attach a document. So here, it's very, intuitive. The window pops up. You want to find your file and, title it and everything like that. The one thing is that you want to make sure each time you see the save changes, you're saving it. So then it'll pop up here and show you how to do that. And I'll just do this really quick for you guys. Oops. Oh, and I'm outside of my computer, so we won't do that. But your attachment will show up here, and you want to make sure that you see your file attachment here, because then it won't, if it doesn't show up, it's not on the file. So to kind of backtrack a little bit, so prerequisites, buyer attachments, so that's where any additional information will show up. Supplier attachments, or if it says vendor attachments, that's where you're going to upload any documents that you would like to. And then the next section is questions. So on this, mainly the questions you'll see is the dark money declaration, equal pay for Montana women, and anything else. And you can see here that, there is going to be a requirement to upload a file. So just make sure that you read through all of the different questions, and anything with a star is required. So just make sure that you answer those, attach anything if it is recommended. So as you can see here, the declaration form, we provide you with a copy, you sign it, and then attach it here. And then always a good rule of thumb is, if you can see down here, save progress, always hit save progress, just so you know if anything were to happen, if like your computer crashed, it'll save where you last left off. And then the next section is the item section. So this is where if there are individual, unit prices that we would like you to submit. So on here, this is just an example of, 6 foot, I'm not quite sure what that is, but so just a product. So what you want to do is make sure that you put in, it's $2 per unit. And on some of the different products, we want to know when you're going to be delivering it. So if you are awarded the contract, when will you be able to deliver it? So you just want to use your calendar feature and select that on there. And then again, you want to save your progress. And again, you always want to see, if you see this little star, it's going to be responses required. So you need to, put that unit price in, and you need to put the estimated delivery date. And then there is an option, sometimes it's a little glitchy, where you can import, like let's say if you have an Excel spreadsheet that you already have of all of your product, you can try to import that. But I know that sometimes we have some glitches on that. And Justin is a little bit more familiar with that. So if he needs to pop on and elaborate, he sure can.
Yeah, Lisa. So the import question is an option. It is very difficult. Everything has to be put in precisely. Sometimes it is a good option. If there's 50 line items here that you have to respond to, you could download the import page, fill it out, and import it. It is a lot easier to go through and respond to the items this way, as Lisa showed. But if you do wish to try to use that import option and you are stuck, definitely give us a call. We'll be able to help you out.
Excuse me. I don't know if anybody else is having this problem, but I can't see any of the presentation at all. It just went to the Zoom page.
I think you might have to open up the Zoom presentation.
Well, it was working at the beginning. I opened that up and then all of a sudden it just disappeared. So anyway, I don't know if anybody else is having that issue.
So down at the bottom of your page, do you have the blue icon with the white camera?
No, it's not there. I'll just try to get back on here in a few minutes. Sorry.
Okay.
No worries. Okay. So a lot of the times too, some of the contract officers, they don't use this feature. They just have it as like a question. So basically they just have you upload a document rather than doing line items. So that's something to kind of look for too, because if you know that we're asking for, multiple products, the contract officer may just have you upload a separate document rather than going through these separate line items.
And if a contract officer does ask for a price sheet to upload in either the questions page or even possibly the supplier attachment page, when you submit your bid, you will get a $0 amount bid, but just know that it's because there's no line items to add the dollar to the bid. As you can see here in this example, Lisa put in $2 per item, and there's a grand total for bid $2. So when you submit this bid, there will be a total bid of $2. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, so don't panic if, there isn't this line item and your bid total is not showing. It's okay, don't panic, because you already have uploaded that document with your totals. So the contract officer will see that when they review each of the responses. So, but if you have a question on that and you're like, well, where do I go? What do I do? You can go to the Q&A board. So this is where if you have any questions or you're like, I can't find this, you can certainly post a question here. And how you do that is if the Q&A board is open, the Ask a Question button will be available. So when you click on it, it'll let you have this window pop up and it'll let you submit a question. And if you don't see that, or if this doesn't pop up, that means that the Q&A board has closed and you'll need to contact whoever the event creator was or whatever contact is listed on that event. And then here you can see, here, these are the questions that I submitted, but you're also able to see any other question that any other vendor has posted. And I believe on the majority of these Q&A boards, everybody will show up as anonymous. Excuse me. With sealed events, they won't show up at all. It'll all be anonymous. So you don't have to worry about, somebody else seeing your name on there. And then again, we don't really recommend using the My Exports and Imports. Again, like Justin was saying, it's a little glitchy. So we usually just caution on that part. But most of the time, not very many people use that. And so lastly, you're going to get to the review and submit page. And here it's going to show green check marks on all the sections that are complete. If you still have to go back and complete something, it's going to show a little grayed out and it'll let you know, okay, you need to go back to the question page and finish that. Also too, on this side, you can see, I have the 4 green check marks and this question is still gray. So I have to go back and complete that. So once you have all of that completed, you'll be able to hit the certify, everything that you have provided is true and correct. And then you'll be able to submit your response on that.
Lisa, there was a request from the chat room that says, please show the services tab of supplier attachments.
Okay. So supplier attachments here?
That's all it says. It says, please show the services tab of supplier attachments. I'm not sure what that means. Maybe Bernie, if you could clarify.
So again, the buyer attachment page, or the supplier attachment page, excuse me, is a location to save documents. Maybe you have something that you want to submit with your bid that is not specifically being asked for, or the contract officer is asking you to upload documents to the supplier attachment page in the presentation or in the event. So it's just basically a place for you to save your options.
Does that answer his question?
I don't know. He said there was a tab for items and also services tab. I'm not really following.
And the items page.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, gotcha. On the same page now. Justin, do you want to touch upon that? The service?
Yeah, absolutely. So the services line items versus the product line items. If there are no services being requested in this IFB or RFP, you won't have that tab. But it's just a different way to respond or to add the line items. So product line items might be 2x4s, whereas service line might be, building a wall, time to build the wall, or shingling a roof, or the kind of services. So it's asking for products and then might be asking for services.
So he's asking about this page. How can you estimate actual dates until you are awarded a bid? Shouldn't there be an estimated time frame instead?
More times than not, the contract officer is not going to require the estimated services. So you're very correct. And a lot of bids, you can't estimate that. If they know, if the contract officer might, in the scope of work, state that this job needs to be done between October and January. So if you have an open time, in middle of November to complete the job, they might ask you to put in estimated service date, start and end date. More times than not, especially in the services line items, as you alluded to, it's not required. Just the unit price is required.
Sounds like he's satisfied. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Justin. So that's pretty much all I have to go over with you guys. Unless there is something that you guys would like to have me show you, I can certainly do that for you. But that's all I have. And Justin, do you have anything to add either?
No, one thing I would like to add is earlier you stated the vendor support contact, and the vendor support contact is the majority of the time the person who created your vendor portal. There is a way to change that contact to different users. Oh, back to your homepage. So the people who are going to see the quick links to common tasks in the managed registration profile are the users with the manage bid or manage portal activities role. And we will cover that here in a little bit. So let me go ahead and take control.
While you're doing that, there is a question from Alan about, it says, how do I refine the solicitations that I receive? And that's all based on commodity codes, right?
That is correct. And I'll touch on that here in just a second as well.
Okay.
Can everyone see that?
Yep.
It's not on, it's not your slide presentation. It's your edit view though.
Oh.
There we go.
Is it? Perfect. All right, so quickly touching on vendor registration, I think we're assuming that most of you guys are already registered, and if you're not, by all means, you can contact eMACS support or PTAC, and they will be happy to help as well. Vendor registration, it provides an easy way to get notified of the state bids. Allows submission of the bids electronically, which helps the vendor save money and building these presentations, printing out 10 different copies, and then shipping it to Helena. So it saves you money there. It allows for self-management of your direct information, and it's free. You can visit spb.mt.gov vendor resources, and there's a lot of good information on that website on how to register and how to complete your registration if you have not already. There's 2 levels of registration, Profile 1 and Profile 2. Profile 1 is your basic information, just enough information for the state to allow you to submit your bids. Basically it gives us your company name and an overview. Now, be sure to select your commodity code because that's how you're going to be notified of the available solicitations. And again, I will go in and show you how to do that. And whenever possible, complete your profile registrations. More times than not, people will go in and they won't complete their profile. Maybe a contact isn't added. Sales contacts are the people who are notified of the solicitations. So if you don't have a sales contact in there, you're never going to be notified. Or if you don't have commodity codes selected, we won't know what solicitations to send you.
Justin, can I interrupt you for just a second? I know we were going to try to save some questions to the last minute, but last bit. But
Yeah.
I do have what somebody did raise their hand. I'm going to unmute their mic. Samuel.
Oh, absolutely.
Huh.
Hello.
Oh,
How about now?
no, are you there?
You got me?
Yep.
Okay, great. Thanks. So I was wondering on the commodity codes, sometimes they feel like they're not specific to each person and the services offered. Is there a way to get another commodity code added potentially, or?
Well, there is ways to get the commodity codes added, but we have our commodity codes at a very broad level for a reason. And it's because we want to be able to get our solicitations out to everybody who sees it. Unfortunately, that might mean that you're going to receive some solicitations that you're just not interested in. And you could simply delete the email. The way you'll stop receiving those notifications about that specific solicitation is to go in and select that intent to bid to know. If you're not sure of exactly which commodity codes to select for your services or products, a good option is to contact support or procurement contacts for the specific agencies that you think you might be doing business with, or maybe contact State Procurement Bureau, which is the central purchasing for the state, and ask a contract officer what they think. More times than not, those procurement contacts have dealt with a project like that or know somebody who can give you good information. But the commodity codes are very high level for that reason, just to try to get the notice out there. Hope that answered your question. Profile 2 is once a vendor receives a contract after winning the bid, they'll be invited to Profile 2. Profile 2 is a lot of information regarding financial. It's basically so we could sync your portal to our system, and we have enough information to manage a state contract properly. And you'll get hounded by your contract officer to complete that profile too. Again, if you have any questions on how to do that, eMACS support, it's going to be either Lisa or I. The phone number 444-2575 or an email at emacs@mt.gov. We try to get those answered fairly quickly. A couple sticking points on those registrations is the commodity codes, as we discussed. The contacts page is another sticking point. The contact types are being asked for. Profile 1, there's only one profile or contact type, and that's a sales contact. And then in Profile 2, there's fulfillment. That's also required. More times than not, small businesses are only going to have the one contact. Unfortunately, the system is going to ask you to enter that in twice. Do I have to select a diversity? No, the diversity is not required. It is an option. but it is not required to do business with the state. Now, if you do come across a solicitation that does require a certain diversity, we only have an option for 2 diversities, and that's small business and women-owned, I do believe. Lisa, let me know if I'm wrong. So if you don't fall inside those 2 diversities, you'll see that you'll have options to select either.
The other one is disadvantaged businesses.
Disadvantaged, I do.
And that's mainly with Montana Department of Transportation. Kind of looks like that.
That's right. I do believe their MDT is the only agency that works with the diversities. So you'll be able to select either does not apply or decline to answer. The best thing about all of these registration points are later on down the road, if you need to go in and update it, you always have the ability to do that. And again, why are we asking for this information? And it's information that the state is either required to have, or it might be required for some contracts. We'll go ahead and give you these contacts a little bit later as well. Again, resources, the help desk, eMACS help desk, our phone number, and our email address. State Procurement Bureau website, spb@mt.gov. You'll see there's 3 different tabs. One of them is specific for vendor resources, and this is the link to that tab. And if you have any questions, that's usually a good place to start. Kind of mosey over. If you can't find it, please give us a call. One other thing, let me change screens, and I want to get into the vendor portal a little bit and show a few things that you can do inside your portal. One thing that is a little confusing for some people is how the Jaggaer supplier network works. The state of Montana is a customer partner with Jaggaer. Jaggaer is the owner of the system, and the state of Montana has a customer portal relationship with them, and the eMACS portal is that the state of Montana's instance of the Jaggaer network. Not every state has a registration portal with Jaggaer. I know there are a few. Utah, Idaho just recently joined the Jaggaer network. And then there's also universities, corporations, and so on. One good point of having such a large umbrella of networks is if the state of Montana is looking for a specific company and they're not registered under the state of Montana's instance, they will be able to search for those vendors inside the other vendor portals. However, we won't have any real contact information. The only access outside of our vendor portal, which is eMACS again, is to invite you to become registered. Each customer portal has its own registration, so the state of Montana's will be a little bit different than state of Utah or University of Pennsylvania or whoever you might register within the Jaggaer network. If this particular vendor was registered in multiple places, you'll see different customer portals listed here, as is we're just registered with eMACS Acquisition Contracting System. So I'm going to go ahead and click on there to return back to eMACS portal. It takes just a moment. As Lisa was pointing out, they have 2 events that they either been invited to or we're working on. You can see down here, and there's 5 other events open in our test events. One thing I'd like to point out is the use of, or logging in as different users. So if I go up here to my user profile, I can return to the Jaggaer supplier network. And this is where all the users are managed. Up in the corner again is that same silhouette of a person. And now I can go in and view my profile. This gentleman is named Vendor Contact. His first name is Vendor, last name Contact, and this is where you can go in and update your information. If for whatever reason you changed your email address, this is where you're going to be able to change that email address. Vendor Contact is currently not the primary contact for their vendor portal. So if that primary contact was leaving the company for any reason, or maybe changing positions, they could assign Vendor Contact the primary contact person. You can assign roles. So again, I talked about possible or different roles. When you go in, you assign or invite a user to register under your vendor portal. So when you register your vendor, this is your company's registration. And so you might have multiple people who will be responding to events. You might go in and invite a user. Let me go ahead and show you that. So under the Administer tab, you can either, or under Manage Users, you can either search for your user, send new user registration, or view pending user registrations. So let's go ahead and search for the users. And it looks like we got Vendor Contact, Justin Harris, which is registered twice. Now, Justin Harris could only be registered twice because he has 2 separate email addresses. You see all 3 of these people have the manage all portal activities roles. But if you need maybe Vendor Contact to only have, actually, let's go to Justin Harris. He might not need to, as you can see here, he's signed the primary contact. But if he needs to be simply working in the solicitations only, he doesn't need to go in and manage registration profile or contracts. You can go in and manage bid opportunities. Assign the role manage bid opportunities. Move it over to the assigned role page. You can change or move manage all portal activities role back to the available roles. So now Justin Harris could only go in and view those solicitations and manage those solicitations. If we need to send a new user, it's as simple as that. Go into manage users, send new user requests. It's going to ask for a first name, last name, phone number, and an email address. Those are required. And I'm not sure why it's not required, but a good thing is to assign a role at this point. In the state of Montana's instance, there's basically 2 roles currently that are relevant, manage all portal activities, and that's going to give them access to everything. Go in, update your registration profile, add, remove, inactivate users, and also submit bids. So if you have a user that is only going to be submitting bids, maybe that rule would be the required. Um, what else were we going to tackle? The question? How do I unmute them, Roxanne?
We had one question. They want to know if your slides would be, if we could email those out.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, if you just send them to me, I can get it to them.
Okay.
I think we answered everything in the chat so far, unless people have questions right now.
Do you
Is there anything else that we needed to tackle on this? Natalie, did you have any points that we wanted to touch on? Oh, one other thing is, as you can tell, this could be a little bit overwhelming, but Jaggaer does have some training opportunities. In the need assistance section, you can see there, you could browse your table of contents or go on the online training support. They have it broken down into 3 columns: supplier network overview, buyer relations management, and hosted catalog management. So this first one, supplier network overview, will help a lot with questions on the difference between the Jaggaer supplier network and just the Montana instance eMACS. How to go in and be invited to register other portals, how to access other portals, a lot of those. They have some training videos and then reference materials as well. Hosted catalog is usually only for those with term contracts, state term contracts. They'll be able to go in and create a catalog that the state users have access to submit orders.
Looks like we do have a couple questions. Samuel, I can unmute you if you want to ask your question. Go ahead.
Thanks, guys. I'm just going through the registration process, and under contacts, it has a portion where it says fulfillment is required to complete the registration. And I'm not sure what I'm missing there. I feel like I've tried to edit it and make it active. I don't see the fulfillment part there.
Yeah, Samuel, that's a great question. That's a sticking point for a lot of people. Again, the system needs to know who to send what information to. And that's why it requires multiple contact types, not the label, but the contact type. Let me get into the registration profile of Justin's Foots and show you exactly what he's talking about. Now, on Samuel's screen, he has a blue header that's up here in this area that's requiring a fulfillment contact. And you can see in Justin's Foots, they have a fulfillment primary contact here under the contact label sales. So again, the contact label can be any name that you would like to label that contact. It's just a way for you to keep your contacts separate. The contact type is how the system knows who to send information to. Unfortunately, that's something you can't edit. You have to simply add contact. And you go down to add contact and select fulfillment. It'll walk you through a wizard that'll ask you all the information you need to know. Does that help, Samuel? Perfect. Any other questions? Registration?
Let's see. Looks like I do have another question. Alan's asking about how to refine the commodity codes. I know we touched on that. So you know, maybe reach out to the procurement staff to ask their opinion. But maybe can you show where to find the list of codes, or either in the system or even on the website? I think that might be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So inside your registration, you'll have the business details, and that's where you're going to find your commodity codes. There are a ton of commodity codes in here. Again, they're very high level for a reason. I suggest you go in and you select as many of those commodity codes that will work for you. There is a search feature, so you know if you could search keywords to try to narrow down your list. If you go in and register initially and you find you're receiving a lot of solicitations for appliances that you're just not interested in, you can always go back into your commodity codes, deselect it, select done, and it removes it. Now you're not going to receive any of those solicitations or sourcing events with that commodity code selected. And Lisa, can you touch on whether we have that list on the website any longer?
Yes, we do. And we do update that when we do get new commodity codes added. And I just put that in the chat group. So it is available for you guys out there.
Perfect. Yeah, and that definitely could be an easier way to view the commodity codes rather than in the system.
Patrick, I don't know, I can unmute your mic if you wanna, if you have your mic on. He asked, how do you submit to procurement your specific products? So I don't know if he needs a little more needs to give a little more clarification. I mean, I would say it's whatever the products are being asked for in the solicitation or what's going to be submitted through eMACS.
Right. Now, if you do have a product that you would like to reach out to, say you have fire hoses and you need to reach out to DNRC, we do have a list of procurement contacts by agency on our website. You'll find that under the vendor resources tab.
That's helpful.
What's that?
That's helpful. Thank you. I just saw a couple bids that had come up, and we weren't able to qualify for the whole job, but we had specific items that could have gone to the contract.
Yeah, and that'd be a great reason to go reach out to that particular agency and just let them know that you're available, and they, in the future might procure products and send out solicitation for the service separate or I know MDT has a specific website, and they have a list of contractors and subcontractors on that website. But that'd be a really good question to reach out to their procurement contacts with.
And then Bernie, I unmuted you. Let's see, he said, can a link be added on the products and services to take you to the link provided, default to a new tab? I'm not sure what he means by that.
I noticed
So
that you'd send over the link that takes you to the list of all the commodity tabs here. And so I was just wondering if maybe there just could be a button up in the corner that would take you to that same page that shows all the list of the commodities, and it defaults over to a new tab when you do, if you click on that link. You know what I mean? That way you don't lose your position. Let's say I'm on this products and services page you're showing right now, and I say I want to see the entire list. And so there should be a button up there. I can do that, and it takes up another tab on my web browser that I can take a look at those. Then I kind of know what area I want to get to.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's something we could definitely look into. We'll have to request it from Jaggaer. But currently, like I think Lisa posted in the comments, a separate page where you can go up and add a new tab and search that page. Or if you select edit, you'll be able to go in complete your search or flip through the pages. We could definitely look into adding that as a feature request to Jaggaer, but the state of Montana won't have any control over additional buttons.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? I guess I was kind of looking at the chat while you were talking about this, Justin, but just to clarify, the Jaggaer network is really a place for you to see like where you are registered with other states. Like it doesn't necessarily make you, make you visible to them to receive, I don't know, bids or opportunities. It's a way for you to have your registrations in like one place and maybe then go to their site and bid on projects. Is that right?
That is correct. So if you're registered with the state of Montana's customer portal, eMACS, that's going to make your company visible to other customer partners that have their portals with Jaggaer. Again, they don't have specific registration information. They're not going to be able to go in and see any of your tax information or tax information, address information. They'd just be able to see your company's name. So basically, a shell of your vendor portal.
Okay.
But from there, they will be able to go in and invite you to register in their customer portal.
Oh, okay. Do you think, I guess I just, when we're talking to clients and getting them registered with the state of Montana, I haven't really pushed the whole Jaggaer side of things. If we, have them complete their profile on the Jaggaer side too, and, they do sign up with other states, do you think it's a potential opportunity for other states to like you said, invite them, but maybe call them and, hey, we need a bid. Can you submit a bid on something? I don't know. What's your opinion on that?
Well, yeah, they won't have any opportunity to call because, again, they won't have that
Okay.
contact information.
Okay.
But through the system, they'll be able to invite them to register within their portal. And then once that invite, they'll be able to attach you to specific solicitations. As we pointed out, the state of Montana invites vendors by the commodity codes, but we are still able to go in and find customers, different vendors, and invite them to specific solicitations. So if I know Justin's foot's really good firefighting, but he doesn't have those commodity codes selected, I could still go in and invite them to view that solicitation.
Okay.
Going in and registering with the Jaggaer network would be a good idea to complete that profile, just so other states or entities might be able to reach out and show you their solicitations.
And Samuel, I unmuted your mic too, so go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah, I've previously done an application with the SBIR program for the federal contracting. I was wondering if any of them cross over, if you would have the same announcement for the state and the feds at the same time.
Generally, no. Now, we do participate in cooperative purchasing programs. So the national organization might be NASPO. They might post a solicitation, and through the cooperative purchasing program, we're allowed to piggyback on those contracts. Now, we don't want to engage in a contract without letting our vendors know that there's a chance we might use this contract. So we'll post what's called intent to participate. That way it gives our vendors an opportunity to bid on another state's solicitation if we end up choosing to contract with that vendor. But again, the intent to participate is just a notice, and it basically gives you a link to the other state or university's solicitation. So you
Okay.
can go onto it.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason I was curious about that is just in the event that it was in both places, if it was necessary to apply for both or one or the other.
Yeah, and the state of Montana posts all our solicitations on eMACS. We don't post anywhere else unless it is that cooperative purchasing. And but again, if we post it somewhere else, it's going to direct them to go and register with eMACS. So eMACS is the only location to submit a bid to solicitation for the state of Montana.
Okay, great. I did have one more question, if I may.
Of course.
Thanks. The other one I was wondering about is if you feel like there might be a potential for something that would be of interest but isn't listed as an announcement. Is there a way to respectfully suggest an announcement that might be available, or how would one go about that process? Thanks.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So if it seemed that there was a service that would be valuable but wasn't listed as an announcement,
On a commodity code?
or even within the system as a contract. So rather than a request coming from Jaggaer, sort of a proposal, so to speak.
Yeah, I think I understand. So as far as I understand, no. And I think the best way to probably go about that is to reach out to specific agencies, procurement contacts, and contact them that way. The majority of them are very approachable and probably very willing to listen to what you have to say. But there's no way for a vendor to submit a request through the system.
There's any other questions?
Looks like
Are the commodity codes? The commodity codes are unique to Montana. They're just. Did we answer that? They're just our state of Montana's codes. They're not other states' codes, right?
Well, they might switch over. I think they are generic. Now, federal codes have the NAIC codes.
Yeah.
Chose not to select those. But yeah, it's we have the ability to add additional commodity codes. So as you view the commodity codes, you'll see that there are some very unique codes to the state of Montana. And then there'll probably be a lot of commodity codes that switch over.
Okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that. I don't see anybody else raising their hand or I don't think so. Is there any other questions? If you guys joined late, make sure and type your name and your company name in the chat, please. I know some people came in a little later. I mean, if there's no more questions, then I think we could probably wrap it up. I appreciate, Justin and Lisa and for doing the presentation, and Natalie for setting that up. We love the state of Montana. You guys are always great and good friend of the PTAC. So we appreciate everything you do. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And we do appreciate you inviting us to these things.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Everybody have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.